Good morning. Ooh, this is wonderful. I love seeing these smiling faces. I wish we had you young folks and visitors here every Sunday. Come back anytime. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this day with Quimper Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. I want to open with a reading from one of my favorite poets and writers, John Rodell, and in honor of the activists that we will be honoring today. I used to think that achieving inner peace would make my heart a calm lake. I thought being in harmony meant no ripples, no waves, no lapping shores, just still water. It turns out that serenity is not the absence of movement. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Because the more peace I feel, the more my heart churns and bubbles like a lake, boiling with a river of lava as it breaks through underneath the water. I don't think we were created out of nothingness, to come here just to let our hearts become an unmoving body of water covered in standing algae. I think the great love placed a fire in us so that our lives will be natural spring of swirling, hot, healing water that never looks the same way twice. I'm starting to realize that the less my heart moves, the heavier it gets. The more dust it collects, the less kindness I feel. But when I let my heart constantly stir like a cotton candy machine, the lighter and sweeter it becomes. Peacefulness is anything but still. It is pure motion. Peace is the ripple that starts in the center of my heart and rushes out through the faucets of my eyes, and then my hands and my tongue into the world. These ripples are remarkable because we aren't here to be stagnant. No, we are here to make a splash. My name is Rosanna Alma'i, and I'm a member of the board here at QUUF and a member of the Native Connections Action Group. Maria, will you please come and do the land acknowledgement?
Our land acknowledgement. As we gather, I acknowledge that the water, land, and shorelines here in Port Townsend are the traditional territory of the Chimicum and Sklallam peoples. We honor and acknowledge our Indigenous members and neighbors and vow to help and restore and sustain these homelands.
And now Joe is going to come introduce Jacob Johns, who's going to give us a blessing.
Introduce you to our visitors from Spokane, Jacob Johns and his daughter Lily, who's down here in the front row, and his friend Jeff Ferguson this morning. Jacob and Jeff were both Indigenous wisdom keepers at the UN Climate Change Conference, COP28, this year in Dubai. And they are planning to be in Azerbaijan this December. It'll be a little bit colder there. And Jacob is a Hopi Akimel Odom and grew up near Mesa, Arizona. He is a Backbone campaign or community-supported organizer, and you can sustain his work by donating on their website. Jeff, a videographer, tells stories in pictures and words and is a member of the Spokane Tribe of Indians. And I'll invite Jacob up to give a blessing this morning.
Skutash. Ani anak chukik Jacob Johns pakap het baya, hoho het baya. Setelah ini haki mo iki temarat kaya.
Thank you, Jacob. Thank you so much. If you are visiting today, thank you. Welcome to all you visitors. We offer a very special welcome and invite you to join us for refreshments and conversation directly after. Today, it will be right here in the foyer. We have coffee and tea and hot water set up for you and lots of goodies to eat. If you are a newcomer and would like more information about us, there is a newcomers table near the double doors over there, and there will be greeters there to talk to you about who we are and answer any questions you might have. We are so glad you're here. And now for some brief announcements. Today's flowers, beautiful arrangement. These are for Mary and John Taberski in memory of their son Stefan and in support of his lovely family. Also, our QUUF elections are now in process for the purpose of choosing new board members, new nominating committee members, and new endowment committee members. You should have received an email link last Wednesday evening, and if not, you can call and ask or email and ask for that to be sent to you. Or if you need a paper ballot, you can contact the office and they'll send it to you. The voting is open until April 30th, so please complete your vote online. We need we need enough votes to count as a quorum, so please complete your vote. And now, we have Bo Olgren, who's going to make a special announcement for us about Quimper Camp.
Hello, y'all. Hello. First, I wanted to let you know that we do have a bunch of strangers in the audience, which is our youth con. So we have had, yes. So we have had 34 teens from the region here all weekend. They got at least like half an hour of sleep each night. We at least 4 hours, very nice. So yes, we're so excited that we're kind of restarting our youth conferencing in the region. We have 3 cons scheduled for next year, and we're really excited and happy to have them. And then the second thing is, so the last full weekend of May, which is May 24th through the 27th, we have our annual Quimper Camp. And Quimper Camp is a fabulous time. We gather in Brennan and And sometimes we see wild creatures like bears. The last time we went on a hike, we saw a bear who was very friendly, but maybe don't approach them. Maybe avoid them instead of going near them. But we would really, really like you to sign up. Sign up ends today. When is that? Today, yes. Sign up ends today, and we would love for you to sign up. Sarah will be out in our foyer after the service for if you are interested. We have scholarships available for anybody. It's really just a good time to hang out. We play an obscene number of board games. We eat an absolutely atrocious amount of food, and we are at a really, really beautiful, 600 acres down in Brennan. So please, please join us, sign up, and thank you all so much.
And can we just have another big hand for Bo Ogren, who is still standing up and speaking in full sentences after a week? We love you, Bo. We love you. Also today, if you came in this morning through the front door, you would have noticed little blue X's on the floor. So those are for our board candidates who will be taking their spots right after the service today. And they will be speaking to you if you have any questions about their service on the board, about what's going to happen, if you want to meet them and greet them. So our board candidates will be standing out there for you to talk to and visit with right after service today. Now, everybody take a deep breath. Let us settle our minds and get ready.
Amid all the noise in our lives, we take this moment to sit in silence, to give thanks for another day, to give thanks for all those in our lives who have brought us warmth and love, to give thanks for the gift of life. We know we are on a pilgrimage here, but a brief moment in time. Let us open ourselves here, now, to the process of becoming more whole, of living more fully, of giving and forgiving more freely, of understanding more completely the meaning of our lives here on earth. And now the chalice lighting. Please join me in the words of the chalice lighting, which should be up on the wall. Yes. We light this channel for the web of life which sustains us, for the sacred circuit of life in which we have our being, for the earth, the sky, above and below, and for our Mother Earth, and for the mystery. And this is out of order. Okay, there it is. Yeah, come on.
Our opening hymn is number 1051. Please rise as you are willing and able. Words will... For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe, oh, we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe, oh, we are. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage and fathers of time. We are daughters of dust and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy and brothers of love. We are lovers of life and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage and fathers of time. We are daughters of dust and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy and brothers of love. We are lovers of life and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe, who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe, who we are.
In your order of service, it says Story for All Ages, but actually this is the Eco Hero Award presentation time, which in many ways really is the Story for All Ages, right? My name is Peg Hunter, and I'm here with Patrick Johnson. We are co-chairs of the Green Sanctuary Environmental Action Team, and we're here to honor our 2024 Eco Heroes. Unlike most Sundays today, as I said, we're combining this presentation with the Time for All Ages, so young children can remain with their families until we sing you out. Patrick.
Well, good morning. And today, actually tomorrow, April 22nd, does mark I think the 52nd anniversary of Earth Day, but every day should be Earth Day. A special thanks to Jill Blair and Maria Mendes and Peg for organizing today, and to Jeff and to Jacob and your families and Danielle and Raul. We're absolutely delighted that you're here. Thank you for coming to mark Earth Day today. A little bit about the Green Sanctuary Environmental Action Team. Our mission is to provide leadership, education, programs, and opportunities for the members of the fellowship to engage in the work of protecting the environment and advancing social justice. Some of the things that we do are the Harvest Festival, which is one of the really fun things that we do here at Quimper, racing vegetable cars, which is an engineering miracle. Today, of course, the Eco Hero Award, the Women's Clothing Exchange, Meaningful Movies, which I know many of you are part of, ongoing and education and the maintenance, rather, of the fellowship grounds. We sponsor various presentations, including the Alaska Suite last December, which was very, very moving. And one of the great joys is the collaboration with the Native Action Group, who do wonderful things for the environment. And we also try to connect with UU Ministry for the Earth. I'm just doing a little bit of chronological review here. The first Eco Hero Award was given in 2008, so it's become a tradition. Some of the other recipients include the North Olympic Orca Pod, and remember they come in their orca suits, which is an important message and a good way to remind us that saving the salmon and the orca are extraordinarily important. Standing Rock supporters were here, I think nearly 100 of them a few years ago. Emma's Revolution, that's hard to say, Emma's Revolution, there we go, who was here Friday night, and I think many of you were here for that. What a wonderful experience. We've also honored Michael Perlasky, who is with Global Earth Repair, and we do have a plaque out in the foyer that you can see all of the recipients since 2004. Eight, pardon me. I'm really glad Peg's here. So.
Now I'm going to introduce our Eco Hero Award recipients this year. I'm just going to read a brief bio, and then they will come up for the presentation. Danielle Fodor and Raul Sierra are a mother and son team that work together to make art, demonstrate about social justice and environmental causes, and build community through political, ecological, and artistic actions. Danielle has been painting murals that connect humans to the environment since 2007 in botanical gardens, public parks, and community gardens. She also makes street art, posters, giant puppets, comics, and zines. Raul has been helping out with murals and street art since he was 5 years old, contributing ideas, quality control, and managing the work site. He has sat through, these are Danielle's words, he has sat through countless boring community meetings since birth. When Raul was 10, he got involved in the climate strike movement and spent 3 years protesting outside City Hall in his hometown of Davis, California, before moving to Irondale, where he continued his Friday protest at Chase Bank. Some of you may have seen him there. Danielle and Raul have worked with hundreds of volunteers to paint murals in public plazas, designed giant puppets and banners and written and illustrated indie comics and zines. They've participated in and supported groups including the Sunrise Movement, Extinction Rebellion, Fridays for the Future, Stop Cop City, Black Lives Matter, the New Old Time Chautauqua, the North Olympic Orcapod, and the Native Connections Action Group. Real activists. And now we would like to invite you to come up, please. There are a couple things we want to present before we give them the microphone. The first thing is the plaque. We'll just show you the plaque that hangs out in the foyer, and their name has been added to a list of very wonderful people, so you're in good company. We also have certificates for each person. And yeah, you can frame that and put it in your office. And we also are making a donation to Danielle and Raul for all their artistic and activist efforts.
Thank you. So thanks for this award. I speak both for Raul and myself when I say we're both honored and humbled when we learned what we were getting this award. I still feel that way, especially when I look around and I see so many people who I know are amazing activists and organizers surrounding us. So thank you all for all the work that you do too. Earth Day is a touchstone for me. It's a time to reflect on my role in protecting the earth. And this year, more than ever, I feel like the earth needs us to be braver and to choose to give up more of our own privilege and our own comfort in order to protect her and to protect each other, to protect both our human and our non-human kin. It's also clear to me, especially the last couple months, that many of us are struggling with burnout and grief and poor health, and that showing up is harder than it's ever been. And that we need to keep showing up despite that more than ever. And we need to be building movements that foster a livable future for young people and for all the creatures here on Earth. So as I thought about what I wanted to say today, I thought, how do we do this? How do we keep showing up even when we feel sick and we feel tired and anxious and overwhelmed? And so I returned, like I often do, to the words of my elders and my ancestors, and I thought about my teacher, Malaquias Montoya, who is a Chicano artist and activist who I had the pleasure of working with. And when I was younger, I asked him, how did you stay in? How did you get to be 70 years old and still in this movement? How did you not burn out like all the people I see around me? And he told me, you have to come from what you love. You can't focus on what you hate or what you oppose. You have to come from focus always on what you love. And I come from a love of justice. And I could see that in his work over all the years. And so I've been thinking for 20 plus years about what I love and what motivates me. And I love the natural world. I love the earth and the trees and the water and the clean air and the soil. I love being immersed in community and seeing the interweaving of different generations and of many cultures and the ways that we grow and struggle and support each other despite our differences. And I love solidarity. I love acting in solidarity, witnessing solidarity, fostering solidarity. I love it when we take each other's struggles as our own and we refuse to be divided. I think it's the most important thing I think about nowadays is our solidarity and how do we come together. So thanks for the award, and I'll be outside in the lobby, and I just want to ask you each on Earth Day, what do you love enough to show up, and what do you love that'll keep you in the movement we need to protect each other and the Earth? Raul has a couple things to say too.
I would just like to say I've not done 1/100th of what I should be doing. I have not been willing to put my freedom at risk, nor my personal future. I hope this will change with me. I hope this will change for all of us. We have to be able to do that to protect this planet. If we do not change, we face the possibility of a world wrecked by wars and environmental disasters, authoritarian governments caused by those disasters. For this reason, we can't forget that our work to protect the planet will be useless if we do not combat militarism, fascism, and capitalism. It simply will not be effective if we do not do that. I'd like to leave you with one of my favorite quotes by Utah Phillips. "The earth is not dying, it is being killed, and those who are killing it have names and addresses."
And now if people on the aisle would form an arch, we'll sing the children out. Thank you.
May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
We pause now for a time of generosity and to receive the offering to support the ministry of QUUF. In a moment, the ushers will come among you to receive the offering, and additional ways for giving will be projected on the screen. Please read along. This fellowship is the community of ourselves. Its energy and resources are our energy and resources. Its wealth is what we share. As we contribute to this life of this community, we affirm our lives within it. Thank you.
And now for our joys and sorrows. This time is set aside to share the joys and sorrows. We recognize that our personal joys and sorrows are only a fragment of the joys and sorrows of the larger community of life. And thus we place this first stone thinking in particular of the ongoing climate crisis and how we can contribute to solutions. May we be inspired today to do what is in our hands to help heal Mother Earth. In the congregation, we light a candle for Sarah Hull, a member of our board. She fell on April 9th and fractured her right ankle. Surgery at Jefferson Healthcare to repair the ankle is scheduled for next Tuesday, April 23rd. She is now a patient of Avamere Olympic Rehab in Sequim, where she will return to continue her rehab following surgery. Please keep her in your thoughts. We place a final stone, holding in our hearts the joys and sorrows I've just shared, but also thinking of such joys and sorrows among us that are unexpressed but of no less importance. And now I'll turn it over to Joe.
Let us pause for a few moments of stillness and meditation. Starting with these words by Max Kapp. Often I have felt that I must praise my world for what my eyes and ears have seen here these many years, and what my heart has loved. And often I have tried to start my lines. Dear Earth, I say, and then I pause. To look once more, soon I am bemused and far away in wonder, so I never get on beyond dear Earth. Blessed be.
Around university campuses, and I love it. I love to sing it, so I'm pleased to do it for you. Love your Mother Earth. Love your mother, show her what she's worth. To the living things that spring forth, may she continue to give birth. And I say, love your Mother Earth. Up in the tropical mist of her rainforest, you can hear her great heart beat. With the sound of chainsaws, the rainforest falls every day, the forest retreat. And on the burned out land, beef cattle now stand, and the Big Mac attack goes on. Oh, but tell me, my friend, on what will life depend when the rainforests when the rainforests are all gone? That's why I say, love your mother, love your Mother Earth. Love your mother, show her just what she's worth. To the living things that spring forth, may she continue to give birth. I say, love your mother, love your Mother Earth. CO2 and methane, we release more harmful gas. And we use more power than we need each hour. The atmosphere's changing fast. Then we burn more fuel, release more gas. Well, the coral reef's dying thin. Well, you hear of a warning of famines and floods. Is this how the world will end? I hope not. You should love your mother. Love your Mother Earth. Say it with me. Love your mother. Show her just what she's worth. To the living things that spring forth, may she continue to give birth. And I say, love your mother. Love your Mother Earth. If you want to change your mother, you gotta go further than just singing the song. You gotta act locally, you gotta think globally, you gotta know what's right from wrong. You gotta educate, you gotta legislate. 7 billion people must choose through social action, a political faction that loves their mother can't lose. That's why I say love your mother. Sing it. Love your Mother Earth. Love your mother. Show her just what she's worth. To the living things that spring forth, may she continue to give birth. And I say love your mother. Sing it again. Love your mother. Love your mother. Love your Mother Earth. Love your mother. Show her what she's worth. To the living things that spring forth, may she continue to give birth. And I say, love your mother. Love your good planets are hard to find, folks. So love your mother like there isn't any other place I'd ever bother. Love your mother. Love your Mother Earth. Unhand that mother.
I love to hear that. Good morning to everybody. I want to just put this up towards my chin so that it doesn't pop and make noise, which is what I've been told to do. Anianap chukik haho hepaya, pakap hepaya. My name is Jacob Johns. Just want to say good morning to everyone. I want to say thank you to this congregation for hosting this. We were contacted a couple of months ago to come and speak here, following up some work that we did at the UN COP. My name is Jacob Johns. I use all human pronouns. I'm based out of Spokane, Washington. I'm a community-supported organizer with the fiscal sponsorship of the Backbone Campaign based in Vashon. I've been doing this work for the past 7 years. I have a background in organizing for the Democratic Party here in Washington State, and then also working for single-issue ballot initiatives, and then switching over to working for the Native American political action committees that were supporting a lot of social justice and environmental protection bills here in the state. We've been working on a campaign back in 2016 that was successful. We won. It was the Initiative 847, which was really big, and then the Initiative 735, and a bunch of other things that were sponsored by the political action committees that were working in alignment with the Democratic Party. But then Trump got elected. Ooh, gross. And people, we were celebrating with the Democratic Party, and there were people out in the halls in the West End that were just in tears and crying. But my campaign was successful. We did a good job. We were out there doing it, working for the full year to make sure that we succeeded in our mission. But in the morning time when I woke up, it really sunk in that there was a fascist that was in power, that there's literally this television star who is a puppet of corporations who are now in control of our government. And there was a vast majority of Americans who supported this. And that itself was scary. You know, I think that a lot of us in liberal and progressive circles understood the impacts that Trump had on the American psyche, and more importantly, the impacts that the American government has on the rest of the world. When we think about, you know, what the future would be for an just, livable, healthy world, Trump does not come into that picture. And so I drummed down to the Vashon Island and met with Bill Moyer, the executive director, and asked to become a community-supported organizer. So I switched over from working for the Democratic Party to doing a lot of frontline activism. I was doing a lot of Standing Rock stuff at that time, doing supply runs from Spokane and bringing people out. I think we brought about 35 people to the front lines, along with like 5 different supply runs, and we were doing GoFundMes and crowdsourcing sort of situations like this, and there was so much money that people were contributing in order to bring the supplies and to support all this movement that it just made sense to try to get fiscal sponsorship. And so 7 years later, I'm still doing this work. I take small donations to contribute to my cost of living so that I can do this work full time, which I've been doing for 7 years. I don't make very much money doing environmental protection, as you all can imagine, so I do a lot of portrait work, I do a lot of artful activism, I do a lot of video stuff, anything that really helps to pay the bills. Years ago, I actually met a young woman who is in the audience now. Daphne, will you just stand up real quick? This is a colleague of mine and a good dear friend, Daphne Winsome, who lives here in Port Townsend, who got me involved with a network called the U.S. Climate Action Network. With U.S. Climate Action Network, I was able to join this network of large NGOs. It was the largest network of green NGOs in the U.S. I think 187 different NGOs are inside of this place. Through the networking and doing a lot of work within the group, it was offered up that there was badges that were going to be able to give into the United Nations Conference of the Parties. For those of you who don't know, when I talk about the COP, I'm not talking about the police, so everybody just be cool. The UN COP stands for the United Nations Conference of the Parties, which I was able to secure a badge and otherwise would not be able to enter into those spaces of people making decisions on our behalf globally. And over a period of years of going to Spain, we went to Madrid, went to Glasgow, and then it came up that as a solo person, you can only do so much in these places, right? I like the idea of being free from oversight of a large board or corporate sponsors who are contributing to the NGO. I take small donations and I don't have to go to a board to do stuff. Like we went to go stand on the front line in Montana to fight Nazis on Martin Luther King Day, right? Like we went to, did stuff in Line 3, we brought water out to the Umatilla tribe. We did all kinds of things, a wide variety of projects that come together in this marriage of intersectional marriage between social justice and environmental protection. And there's no separation when you look at it from our perspective. Is this idea that we must do these things, that climate justice is racial justice, that these things are unified, they're all connected. This is all a big movement of that. And so the idea traveling internationally was coming into all these different people who were just these amazing beings who were here really passionately acting from their soul purpose. The whole idea for individuals to try to come to these global spaces is try to have an impact on the future of humanity, and more importantly, have an impact on the world. But as all of us who have ever felt alone in our ideals, and especially in conservative spaces, that we understand the power of unity, we understand the power of connection, we understand the power of speaking from our hearts. And so by doing all this international work, I met a great group of people, a collective called the Earthrise Collective, who is, I do the media work for it, and my good friend Jeff Ferguson here. Jeff, will you stand up and just wave at everybody? This is Jeff Ferguson, everyone. So Jeff is a videographer. We were doing some work with the Earthrise Collective, which is about finding ways that we can contemporize a traditional ancient knowledge. Right? We want to be able to uplift these common human truths around the world and shed light on it so that we can share these messages with the rest of humanity. And this is the idea for us to come together in this collective, is that we have these groups of people who are from a wide variety of traditions globally who come together on the full moon in order to share traditional thought, original ways of thinking, and more importantly, contemporary ways that we can unite and move forward together. So we had our first in-person meeting in Dahab, Egypt, before COP27, which was taking place in Sharm el-Sheikh, and 35 indigenous wisdom keepers and activists got together for a full week to pray for humanity. Right, this really resonates with me as a Unitarian Universalist who was really active in, human secularism. It's like we really want to be in this, and this was an embodiment of that. Instead of it being, this conceptual idea of us taking these different teachings from different places and putting them together in a way that we can, commodify it. This was us coming together in order to do this work. So. A group of us hiked up to the top of Mount Sinai to do ceremony for the world at sunrise. And we understood that we have to do more than pray, right? Like as UUs, we know that we have to do more than pray. We need to pray. We have to pray, right? Like we are in alignment with the future. We are all these things, but we have to act. And as a UU, as a Unitarian Universalist, it's very, very important for us to not only just talk about it, but be about it, and really create that example that the world so desperately needs, that our children who just left need to see. And we can't just talk about it, we must be about it. So with these network of people and these indigenous wisdom keepers and activists from around the world who are just amazing beings of light who are really coming together for the benefit of all of humanity, I asked them, would you join with us so that we can create contemporary climate policy that we can advance at the United Nations? And people said yes. So for the past year, last year, we worked together across all of the time zones. I think, we had to have 2 meetings a week for the Western Hemisphere. And the Eastern Hemisphere, we had to have translators from, not only was the meetings in English, they were in Spanish, French, and Portuguese, and a wide variety of indigenous languages that were very, very difficult to navigate, especially when you wake up and it's already the middle of the day on the other side of the world. It's just like a nonstop thing. But we were able to come together, put our minds and hearts together, and distill our prayers, and more importantly, the moral values and the spiritual obligations that we have as indigenous people globally into a document that we could advance to heads of state at the United Nations. And so we were out doing, grassroots fundraising as a community-supported organizer. I was able to get the nonprofit status and get the support of the Backbone Campaign so that we could take donations in order to advance this contemporary climate policy that we had been developing. I was, as a member of the U.S. Climate Action Network, I went down to New Mexico. They had the West Coast Regional Meeting over there of just a small group of us, NGO people and green groups that got together to discuss things that are happening on the West Coast. While there was a local group that was asking for support, and as indigenous people, and more importantly as environmental activists, that we really can't just say we're part of the U.S. Climate Action Network without actually doing action. And as somebody who stands in solidarity and is often on the front lines, I went out to spend the night at a place that was, it's a county courthouse that was trying to re-erect a statue of a conquistador. So this conquistador had done horrible things to the first people of that land. And I'm Hopi and Alquimarata, but we're Pueblo people, and the Pueblo people in New Mexico are our cousins. We are kind of the same type of people, but they are our siblings just across the borders that were forced upon us. And so I went over there to spend the night. They said that there was mainly women and children who were there, and 2 spirits and elders that were on the lines, but it's a very dangerous place that was about 2 hours from Santa Fe, a city called Española. We spent the night there, and then in the morning we had a ceremony at sunrise to once again unify our hearts and really broadcast logic into the future. It makes no sense for us to glorify Hitler, right? This person, this conquistador had done horrible things, genocide on the Acoma people, and once they had won, they rounded up all of the men, 800 of them, and cut off their right feet. I mean, during the 1500s, when the conquistadors and the Spanish government were doing horrible things here in North America, this conquistador that they had to put a statue up was held for war crimes by his own government in the 1500s. This is to give you an idea of who this person was that they were trying to re-erect. And they had taken the statue down during the 2020 uprising. They had taken it down because there was still a lot of, obvious trauma around this, but they were trying to re-erect it, and they asked me to come and support them. So we did the ceremony at sunrise, And the county commissioner didn't put the thing back up. No more, right? A great job. Everything's fine. We were having a press conference and a bunch of fascist right-wing Trump supporters showed up. And they identified with the conquistadors. They thought that this conquistador was them and that this was a homage to them and their legacy. But as we are surrounded by these people who were there just to pray and to wish goodwill and wish logic into the future, and more importantly, right the wrongs of history, a fascist pulled out a gun and shot me in the chest. It was the bullet went through my chest, it collapsed my lungs. It was a hollow point bullet, and pieces of it flew through my stomach. It went through my liver, went through my pancreas, and destroyed my spleen. They had to remove it, and I was in surgery for 2 days straight, blacked out. But as I flew from the helicopter from Española to Santa Fe, I died. I died in the helicopter. I remember coming back to consciousness in order to die. And I don't know if any of you all have died before, but it was, from my personal experience, not a fun time. Right? When you have your lungs collapsed by a bullet, it's like getting kicked in the chest by a horse, but then you just can't breathe, and you blacked out, and then I didn't lost consciousness. But on the other side, after I died, everything stopped, and I had to go before a council of spirits, and we had to examine the life that I had lived before that. Everything that had led up to that moment in time, I had to review and explain all of these things. And over time and time again, we had to bring up different examples of how choosing service to others won over service to self. All these times we chose willpower over our own selfish desires. All these times that we set out to do the things that we were meant to do without fear, and sometimes with fear. I think that's the ticket there, is that we still do these things regardless of the fact that we have to face these oppositional forces that are crazy. And so I had to beg the spirits to let me come back into their life. They told me it wasn't going to be easy, it wasn't going to be hard. I asked to come back in because I have a young child, my daughter here, who's 11 years old. Lily, you want to stand up? Yes, I love getting people in the audience to stand up. This is my daughter, Lily. Lily, say hi. I had to come back. There's no way that I could not be a father. And, for the years that I had been doing frontline direct actions and all of these things, I always promised that I would never put myself in danger because I value being a parent. And the spirits listened to me. We reviewed, and I had to sign a new life contract in order to come back. They told me it wasn't going to be easy, but I had to continue to do the work that I was doing, amongst a long list of crazy things that I don't even know how it's going to happen, but it will. And I woke up, and I had 4 drains in my body. I had to relearn how to walk, how to go to the bathroom, how to talk, how to sit up. I had to learn how to do all of these things. And in the midst of all of this, I was still doing meetings because we still had to do the work, right? Like, it sucks I got shot, but don't you know that the world is in peril? Like, our future of humanity is at stake. And people are like, oh yeah, you're so sick, I can't believe you got shot and all this. But 2 weeks after I got out of the hospital, I flew to Dubai. Because the truth is that we don't have time. We have passed the tipping points over and over and over again. And we have to do something to mitigate the circumstances of the future for our children. And not just our children, but for the entire human race and all consciousness here on this planet. And so we had, first off, I was the money guy. I was the one out here, collecting the funds and doing all the stuff and organizing all this. But we had 15 delegates who had flown to Dubai, along with 4 different organizers and a video person to come and do the work that we set out to do. Beautiful grace that we got from going down to New Mexico was that USCAN. I had applied for a grant, a frontline community grant, and they had loved my video submission so much that they gave us a 3-year grant. So the 1-year project turned into a 3-year project, and right now we are in the year 2. A group of us, 15 of us, went to Dubai in order to advance the contemporary climate policy, but more importantly, to come together and pray in an effort to shift the hearts and minds of world leaders so that we understand that we are connected, that we are unified, that the air we breathe is the same air that others breathe, and that the problems around the world are our problems because we are human beings. And this idea of projecting logic in a chaotic world it's rare, right? For those of us who try to rise above the emotion and all this, it's a difficult process. We're not like out here just willy-nilly like, oh, let's take a logical approach to this, right? We understand that we must stop absorbing the chaos of the world, that we must rise above feeling the emotions of others, often when they are negative and they are dragging us down, that we must define a future and the energy that future will represent and emanate that now. And this was the purpose of this. So I had 3 drains in my abdomen, and I had a little fanny pack that I had to put the drains in, but we continued to do the work. And even though I felt sick and I wasn't the best, my team, the amazing organizers and the amazing delegates who stepped up to fill in the gaps for all of the times I was in the hospital, even though I was doing fundraising calls from the hospital bed, nobody likes to focus on the negative. We can't live in a victim state. We can't live in a world where we are victims perpetually, always against us. So we are humanity. And so the idea for us to bring logic and, more importantly, unify the voices globally was a big progressive step forward. This was a big, when I had originally started it, I was like, hey, this is what we're going to do, right? We're going to get 15 people, right, from around the world. And it was, but right at the end, when we were short to our death, Dubai is the most expensive city in the world. Most expensive city. I saw a Ferrari and a Lamborghini racing on the freeway. Like it's the most expensive city in the world. It's crazy. And while being there, we were able to provide that by getting grant, first off seed money from USCAN, but we got a grant from the UUSC National, who helped us put us over the top to bring this delegation to the United Nations Conference of the Parties. And I had to take some time to calm down and, more importantly, heal. I had all of the drains removed out of my abdomen, and the team was really excited about coming back. So now we are in the preparation of expanding our document that is a living document in order to be more inclusive, to bring in a lot of the current traditions, the current tracks of the negotiations, and then utilize that strategically to work with negotiating teams from different heads of state, different countries around the world, so that we can unify our voices and say the same thing, advancing the same policy through different countries. And this is the strategy that we have right now. That moving this into domestic policy is a pain in the butt. I know for all of us who are environmental activists here in the U.S., it's often so easy to fall into despair. But as a good friend of mine, Jay Naidu, who says that when we talk about the climate, we talk about the future, that we have no room for despair. And as I think a lot of us share this a commonality of post-capitalism and post-colonization, that we have to unify ourselves. And that as the old world dies, a new one is created. And as we focus on the creation of a new world, we see the old one die. We see the death rattles of fascism now. We see the death rattles of oppressive systems now, struggling to maintain control and maintain power over people of minority around the world. And that world is dying. And all of us who have been working from our traditions and working from prophecy understand that time is now. This time of turning is taking place right now before our eyes. For those of you who have spent time with younger people and have talked to them about the future, it's a hit and miss. Sometimes we think about the negative things because the science is telling us that, yes, systems are failing. Systems are on their way. The whole idea of the Paris Accord was to stay below 1.5 degrees Celsius in total global temperature rise. But we had reached that last summer. Last June, the Earth reached that moment. And the 1.5 degrees Celsius and global temperature rise prevention is seated in white supremacy because it's only at that point that the Northern Hemisphere will start to feel those impacts. I can tell you right now from my travels around the world and networking with Indigenous people globally that the equatorial region, island nations, the global south are already starting to feel these impacts of our pollution. The U.S. is the most historical government to contribute to the greenhouse gases, and we have to own up to that responsibility. And often as the U.S. goes into these international spaces, they act as obstructionists and objectionists and naysayers. And if the U.S. says no, China will say no. So will Russia. We're seeing these major economies falling into each other. In Sharm el-Sheikh, Joe Biden's big climate plan was to work on a carbon trading scheme with philanthropic groups such as the Jeff Bezos Fund. This was the solution that Biden had offered into the global world, the global stage, schemes of how to trade one community's health for another. And we know as human beings and logical people, and more especially as UUs, that we cannot trade the health of one community for another. That we are unified by heart, we are unified by soul, we are unified by spirit, most importantly, and we have a moral obligation to uplift the future of humanity in ways that we can, tangible ways that we can do that now. It's a big, big movement, I think, for us to unify. And so I wanted to really bring out this idea that we can step away from apocalypse. I know lots of religions speak of the end of times, the end of days, all of the things. And yes, systems are failing. Ecosystems are collapsing around the world. Animals are dying. But I must tell you that we have no room for despair. We cannot look at our children and say, I'm sorry. We must unify now. The idea for us to unify in solidarity and in prayer is already here, right? We're already here. We see these young people and these children who are being raised by amazing people to spread this knowledge of truth, this logical aha moment that we are all walking into. And as somebody who has died, literally was killed and came back, I'm here to tell you that this is the highest vibration that we could possibly imagine. And so many people are saying the same thing from Indigenous wisdom keepers globally, that the new world has already been created. It's waiting for us to realize it so that we can walk into this new world together. And the time for small steps has passed. We have reached the tipping points. What we must do now is walk together and take giant quantum leaps into the future that is already existing. And I really wanted to stress this, that despite the media telling us that the world will end and that all will fail and that we will all die and we will all be seen by some universal force who is going to judge us, that the future is unwritten. And that we have the power right now in order to extract out of the infinite time-space the future that is healthy and just and livable. And we are doing that with every single action. The choices that we make have massive impacts on the future generations. And anything that we can do to mitigate the circumstances that were forced upon us from previous generations will have massive effects on the future of the world, and more importantly, the future generations. That we have the ability, and we are more than capable to extract what we need and speak truth to power. I think as we look at all of these teachers from all these different traditions around the world, that it's important for us to extract that energy and really utilize it in ways that we can physically move forward together. And so this work that we are doing globally is a unique situation because we are not a large NGO. It is just the community-supported organizer, little me, who makes $500 a month. Right? Like this is what is guiding this policy document. We have no corporate sponsorship. We have no board to oversight us. We are working in a circular way in order to generate a policy document that makes sense logically, and more importantly, distills traditional and spiritual knowledge in ways that can be adapted by heads of state. And whether or not we have a meeting at the White House, we have a meeting of the minds, and we have a meeting of the hearts. And that we will unify in global prayer to save ourselves. This is already taking place. We have to let go of despair. For the longest time, I wanted to fight the systems. We fight the oppression. We fight these things. Biden spoke at Sharm el-Sheikh in COP 27 and spoke to the global stage about how Indigenous people have the knowledge that we need to save the world. This is after he announced his carbon trading scheme with Jeff Bezos previously as a framework for other countries to follow suit. And for all those who know that Mussolini's definition of fascism is the marriage of corporation and state. And this is a scary thing. So we did an action, and I interrupted Joe Biden's speech, and they took our badges and kicked us out. And Egypt is not a very liberal place. But after we had done the direct action, the next day, it was like 174 news articles that were written about the words that we were saying globally. That itself is just so much power. Just being able to put these people and put these voices in all of these different languages globally was impressive and, more importantly, profound. But, as Mother Teresa said, that she would never go to an anti-war rally, but she would go to a pro-peace rally. That we cannot be oppositional. We cannot, if we are against something, we are feeding that which we are against by being oppositional to it. I think that's my issue with anarchists. It's like, yeah, let's destroy the system, but then what's going to take place, right? Like we have to have a system that will take place that makes the old systems obsolete. And as these old systems of oppression are dying, that we must create new paradigms that can make the old systems fall away. And this is what's taking place. And so instead of being oppositional to our liberal president, we instead offered a solution that can be adapted. As the president said, that we have the solutions, but we cannot be one-sided. We cannot think just domestically, that we must think from a global lens. As I've spoken earlier about taking a quantum leap into the future together, this is a way for us to do that. This is a tangible way for us to do that. And so this work continues. This work continues as we are going to the SB60 in Bonn, Germany, which is the venue for discussing what will take place at the UN COP, what will be negotiated at the UN COP, so that we can get in there, in effect, and create the networks that we need. It's more importantly, the relationships with heads of state from all of our delegates, so that we can create the meetings that we need at the times during the COP in order to get there and prepare for all of this. This is more than a full-time job. It's always on. For the global community, it's always the working day, right? Like no matter where you wake up and there's phone calls and text messages and emails from all around the world. But this is the reality of our situation here, that this is the only way to move forward. And as a jaded activist who's done a lot of things, including a lot of things over the years, that this is a way for us to offer an alternative. This is a way for us to unify our voices in these halls of power that often go unheard, especially from Indigenous people. And as a minority in the U.S., especially as a Native American, we are already living in a post-apocalyptic world. The world that we knew, the world that we had for thousands of years has ended, and that we are living in that apocalypse now. But the truth is that the future is unwritten, and we have the capability, we have the knowledge, and more importantly, we have the power to effect change, to save the future of humanity. And it's not just human beings that are at stake. We all understand that. But we, as human beings, have the power to stop it. We have the influence, we have the power to stand in solidarity together and to move together as one consciousness. So I'd like to get everybody to just relax a little bit and get into a comfortable space. Okay? This is a practice called hyota. In my tradition, hyota is a practice that we do in the morning time. When the sun rises, you wake before the sun and you sit facing the sun. You can also run towards the sun. But as the sun rises, you breathe in light. This practice of breathing light is meant to charge you. So I'm going to try to guide you all through a meditation doing the hyota. As we do this, I'd like to invite you to close your eyes, get in a relaxed position, and imagine sitting on the earth, facing the sunrise. And as the sun rises, you take a deep breath of the sunlight, breathing in the light and imagine it filling up your body. Each breath, as you exhale, blows out smoke, blows out stress, blows out all of the darkness in your body. Take a deep breath of light. Imagine it filling up from the top of your head with each breath, exhaling all the spent energy out of your body and replacing it with light. Imagine the light filling up your head all the way down into your neck, slowly going down into your throat. As you breathe in the light, exhaling the smoke and the darkness and the stress and the worry of the world, and replacing it with the inhales of divine light from the creation of the universe. Feel it going down into your shoulders, down into your chest, down into your abdomen. And each inhale is charging your body, filling it with light. As you exhale, you blow out the negative, the darkness. Breathe in the light. Feel it going down through your abdomen, down into your pelvic area, into your legs. Really feel that darkness being pushed out of your body and exchanged with light as it goes down into your calves and finally out of your feet. With each breath, feel your body being charged brighter and brighter with the divine light of creation. Now imagine that your body, so bright and so light, dissolves, and you are merely just one sphere of consciousness, one bright ball of light that is divinely lit by the creative source. And at the top of your head, the top of the sphere becomes the North Pole, and the base of your spine becomes the South Pole. Now I want you to breathe light, imagining light coming from the top of your head, the North Pole, filling up the entire planet. Going down through your head, across the northern hemisphere, down into the equatorial region, and finally filling the light of the global south until the entire planet is charged with light from the sun. Feel the light of creation coming across the earth. And remember that you are the earth, and that the core of the earth is the core of you, and your heart is connected to the planet of the earth. And the same force, the same light, the same power that is contained into the sun, an outside source, is contained within you. It's contained in the center of the planet. It is contained in the heart. Feel the center of the earth. Feel your heart opening and expanding with the truth that the universal source, the universal light, is inside of you. Feel the core of the earth radiating light, the core of your heart radiating light from the center of our beings across all consciousness on earth. I invite you to open your eyes. This idea of hyuta and connecting to the planet is a spiritual practice that I like to share, especially when we are in vibration together. And the practice is key for us to act as change makers as we walk consciously on this planet, not forgetting that we are connected to each other, as children are to its mother in utero here on this earth as we walk, and that you have the ability to stop absorbing energy from outside sources and recognize the truth inside of yourself. That you are the earth, that you are power, that you are light, and you are creation. And more importantly, that you have the ability and the capability to affect the entire planet. I want to salute you all for listening to these words and to walking through this meditation with me, listening to our songs, and for all of the people who I invited to stand up to, I just salute you all. And let's close out with this honor song. Maybe I'll grab this drum real quick. Something I wanted to also talk about, I would kick myself in the butt if I didn't. A couple of years ago, we in Spokane, the Spokane community, along with our church, the UUSC, had worked together to change the street of the name of a street in Spokane that was named after a genocidal maniac. Colonel George Wright was an evil person who did horrible things to the indigenous people of that land, and there was a street named after him. And it was right in front of our church. And for 20 years, they had tried to change the name. They had worked out, they said it was going to cost too much and all these different things. But we had organized with a group of climate activists in order to take the stand and really share oral testimony, what the atrocities that had happened to not only the Spokane people, but the Kalispels, Colvilles, Yakimas, Flatheads. I mean, it was a wide variety of tribes that had done things. This general had reached out to the tribes while they were occupying America and forcing colonization on them, and offered to do a peace treaty. And so the leaders of the local tribes went to the fort to have a peace treaty talk with this general. He arrested them and then hung them 15 minutes later. And Spokane had a street named after him. Out front of our church had a street named after him. So we did an action that took all day for us to go through all the tribe's oral testimony. This was oral testimony about the atrocities that had happened, with all different tribal members to come through. One of the other things that he did is he had taken all of the Spokane tribal members' horses and killed them. Over a 3-day period, he ran out of bullets, and you could hear the horses being clubbed to death. And so we took upon ourselves, along with our Unitarian Universalist community and a lot of different local organizations, including Arm in Arm, which was born out of the U.S. CLIC-CAN, to take on horseback down the street and do a banner race to change it from George Wright to Genocide Avenue, right? But we worked with the city in order to have them change the name. A wonderful person had worked. Jeff's fiancée actually had worked hand in hand in order to shift that name in order to Wistock's Way, which was a female warrior from the Spokane tribe who was married to a chief in Yakima. So we won, right? But we don't want to forget what happens in the past. We don't want to forget what has happened. We want to learn from the mistakes of our people, the people in front of us. We want to not repeat those mistakes in the future. So we had worked with a group of local indigenous artists and local sculpture in order to get those signs from the city and create a sculpture out of the signs to not forget. And so we are selling T-shirts. I don't have the T-shirt with me now. They're jerseys. On the front it says Land Back. On the back it says reparations, but we are selling those T-shirts for $100, and if anybody would like to contribute, 100% of the profits are going to go back to paying for the sculpture to be made, for the artist's time, and for the materials. I don't have the jersey right here in front of me, otherwise you can imagine I'm holding it up right now. This is what it looks like. Cool. Anyways, I wanted to just say that, so I'll be out there in the back after the service, and you can feel free to talk to me while I'm out there. Cool. So I want to salute you all once again for listening to the song and also for listening to my last spiel. So much love.
For our closing song, Blue Boat Home. Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun my sail and moon my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the light of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on. Greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
And for our closing words by Chris Rothbauer, may our lives be reflections of the beauty, peace, and joy that is possible in this world. May the love we find in this place sustain us as we go on our separate ways. And now we will extinguish our chalice. So please join us in our chalice extinguishing words. We extinguish the flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, the fire of commitment, or the power of transportation. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.